Over the past several years, we've seen all the incredible progress in the quality of animation in sports games. Much of that has to do with the advances in motion capture technology. We wanted to know what goes into making all the moves on the field come to life. So we talked to a few of the experts down at Sony Computer Entertainment in San Diego to find out how they created the most realistic motion capture ever.
The studio brings in talent. They suit them up in a motion capture suit that consists of some reflective markers or little balls, and they capture an animation and try to get a real lifelike motion.
And we'll bring them out and put them in front of 20 plus, cameras. Then we'll be able to capture those reflective markers, and we'll have about 43 markers on the guy at a time, and we'll capture all 43 of those markers. They'll turn into little points in space. It will then go to our animation crew.
And the animators make sure that it looks how it should look when it gets in the game, so that there's no pieces of geometry moving through each other, so that it looks dynamic enough and exciting enough for when you're sitting down and actually playing the game.
Well, not to get too geeked out here, but we wanted to know a little bit more about how this stuff works.
The cameras, when they're on, have a red strobe ring that will send light out from the front of the camera, and it will hit these markers that are set to reflect about a 3-degree angle, and that light will bounce back at the camera, and then that camera can say, hey, I recognize a reflection.
One of the biggest improvements in motion capture technology is in the frame rate.
We'll normally capture at 120 frames per second. That's good enough for punching motions, bat motions. It's just when you get a little bit longer than a bat and it starts extending on a guy's arm, 5 feet from a guy's arm, and he's swinging it as fast as he can, that's when you're running into some problems.
Okay, enough of the tech talk. What we really want to know is what games these guys are working on.
Our main job and our main focus is to facilitate SCEA, whether they be game day or MLB or SOCOM. It doesn't matter if it's sports or non-sports, as long as it's an SCEA game, we're available to assist.
Most of the games that we work on are sports games. We do all sorts of stuff, at least since I've been in here. We've done basketball games, football games, baseball games. We've also done a number of action games, fighting games, pretty much anything that comes to us. We can do anything where the developers need a real lifelike animation.
Well, this all sounds just a little too easy.
Some of the harder things that we have to deal with is if you have two guys fighting, and if I have a marker on my chest and I cover it up with my hand, the cameras obviously aren't going to be able to see it anymore.
That tends to produce the most difficult data for us to deal with. Sometimes the computer will get confused and the markers will swap. They'll change places and it disrupts the data, and so we have to fix those swaps. Some of the stuff takes quite a bit of time to clean. It just depends on the quality of the data, depends on how complicated the motions are, and it depends on how many people are in the scene. Obviously, when we have real extreme motions, when they're bringing in stuntmen to do crazy flips and football tackles, that's really fun to work with, because it's not only is it challenging, but it's just interesting to see those motions get transferred onto the computer and work with those.
But the coolest part of their job has to be working with all the professional athletes.
Cool Borders, we had a lot of the professional snowboarders come in, which was really cool. So we captured their motions. Yeah, we have some cool names, some cool people that come through here. It's fun.
We do get kind of high-profile, famous people, athletes and stuff to come in for PR stuff, to do like football moves or basketball moves. That's always kind of exciting, interesting to meet those guys. I've worked with Donovan McNabb from the Eagles, worked with Stephon Marbury and Michael Vick. Those three mostly.
The coolest part of my job is the fact that I'm making video games and getting paid to do it. That's the coolest part. It's every day coming to work, there's something new to work with. There's new emerging technologies every day that we get to look into and play with and be part of.
Working in this atmosphere is obviously a lot of fun. I mean, we're here to make games, and everybody that works here plays games and loves games, and being involved in that atmosphere is just really exciting if you're an enthusiast like myself.